it's going to be funny. Go ahead. This is great.
Paul looked straight at the Sanhedrin and said, "Brothers, I have lived my life before God in all good conscience to this day." The high priest Ananias ordered those who were standing next to him to strike him on the mouth. Then Paul said to him, "God is going to strike you, you whitewashed wall. You were sitting there judging me according to the law, and yet in violation of the law are you ordering me to be struck." Those standing nearby said, "Do
Paul
you..."
got a little angry there.
Yeah, he got a little sassy. I'm gonna give it to him.
Yeah. You whitewashed wall.
Which was Jesus' whitewashed tomb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep going. We'll talk about.
"Do you dare
Ananias.
revile God's high priest? I did not know, brothers, that he was the high priest." The priest replied, Paul. These puns are breaking me down here. "For it is written, you must not speak evil of a ruler of your people."
Okay. So, even though Paul said it, I love all the way through with everyone he's going to talk to, he respects their position or their authority.
Even Jesus said to respect Roman law. So
Yeah.
I get it. Like, it's not aligned with God, but I'm still going to respect it because it's what you've asked of the citizens of this place.
And the Old Testament said not to speak evil of the high priest.
Yeah.
But he was not far off at all. It's just the history of Ananias. He was the high priest from 47 to either 58 or 59. They're not sure which. When Herod Agrippa II is going to remove him. But he's a dirtbag. He's a vassal of Rome. He's pro-Rome. He's I can't use the term I'm thinking of, but he's kissing up to the Romans, which is going to get him killed. I'll share that with you too.
Spoiler, but all right.
I didn't read that far. Thanks.
It's not in your text, but he's a dirtbag, and Josephus actually records that he was stealing all the tithes that are given to the priest to take other stuff from the lesser, younger priest, and if they said something or throw a fit about it, he had him beat.
Mm.
Like working at a restaurant and being on the line and being a busboy. Everyone takes everything from you.
Yeah, they get all the money, everything else. So when
We beat you just for fun. So it's not about the money.
is this some history?
Yeah.
So when the Zealots take over, about 80, 66, 8 years later than this, because he was such a suck up to Rome and because he was such a dirtbag, they kill him. The Zealots do. Even though, because remember, they tried to take back Rome, but they'd also do anybody who was a turncoat or a sellout. So being that vassal high priest, they finally kill him. But Paul knew it wasn't going to be a fair hearing, so I love what he does. He's about to pull a pin on a grenade, watch it or light the match and watch the world burn. Go for it.
When Paul realized that one part of them were Sadducees, is it
Sadducees?
Is it Sadducees? So
They're sad.
It's a harder.
They're sad, you see.
Okay, it's the J in there.
Yeah.
It's two D's in the crazy language. Sadducees, and the other part were Pharisees.
Okay, that's going to be the key for what's going to happen.
That's
So-
split in the party.
Yeah, it's Republicans and Democrats. It's two warring sides that hate each other. The Sadducees didn't believe in a resurrection.
Yeah.
They didn't believe in angels. They didn't believe in demons. They believed in nothing supernatural. They didn't believe there was life after death.
These were Jews, correct?
Yes.
And
If only there was a way they could.
If they could have found the way, they'd been all right.
So, what would have been the telltale sign with Paul looking into the crowd? Was it an attire? Like, how would he have seen? Okay, I'm looking at a group of.
It's the Sanhedrin. It's a given. It's like if you went to Congress today, do you have to guess?
Okay, yeah, there's a bunch of crazy people that got it.
Yeah, both sides. They're
not
drawn
going
to
to agree.
So the Sadducees were liberals. They only believe, some people only believe the Pentateuch was the Bible, first 5 books. Everything else was and then they modified Scripture to match what they wanted to believe. So if the Bible didn't say what they wanted, they would change it or try and
Scratch that out.
adapt it.
What was the reason for you in following any religion if they wrote off all of the spiritual sides of it?
Tradition.
Just-
Tradition.
It was a control point for the people. So,
It's power.
yeah.
if
it
you're-
wasn't
if you're-
even a godly thing. It was simply control over people.
Well, it's Well, we're about to get in a whole lot of trouble.
Hey, this is what we're here at this table. I didn't come to this table to not have good conversation.
It's the exact thing happening in Christianity today.
Yeah.
You've got multiple denominations that are being taken over by the very Sadducee mindset of liberal as far, I don't care what political party you are, that means nothing to me.
Liberal parties, those are two different concepts.
It's but they're taking the Bible and they're making it fit them. They're changing parts of it to, well, God didn't really mean that, or he didn't really say that, or this means
Man down.
oh, my Dr. Pepper. Oh, sorry, y'all.
We're going to take a quick pause and loop back around.
Look at the bubbles.
So amazing enough, when we start to talk about something,
Right.
my mic falls off, and guys, if you need to take a break for a second.
Yeah.
So where were we at?
I think you asked like why pick and choose anything if you, or how do you believe in anything if you're going to pick and choose what you believe? It's not Christianity. It's not an actual faith.
Yeah.
You're just making it fit what you want.
Yeah, we were talking about Sadducees, and we were then going into a little bit of the
Not to
different.
get in trouble.
You were going to get in trouble because we were talking a little bit about how the church has decided to
To do what the Sadducees were doing.
do exactly what the
And
Sadducees were
you're
doing.
seeing entire denominations split because of it, because they've had people come in and say we can water down the scripture, we can ignore the scripture, we can say it's not applicable for us, we can deny the truth of the scripture, or rewrite the scripture like the Sadducees did to fit our theology or our desired theology, instead of we let the word dictate our theology. Because God said it, God said it. I'm a firm believer here at our church that everyone's accepted. We'll accept everybody. Or
Yeah.
everyone, we accept everybody. I don't care what your issue is, what your hang up is, what you're dealing with, what God's doing. But don't mistake acceptance for approval. Because God doesn't approve of your sin, doesn't approve of my sin. And for churches to try and now say, well, these sins aren't really sins, yet the Bible says they are.
Yeah.
Yet people can go the opposite way and be hateful and ostracize people because of their sin instead of loving the sinner
Mm-hmm.
and hating the sin.
Yeah.
But I guess both of the pendulums on those are wrong
Yes.
because people are
Yeah.
people.
Because you're
Extremes are
and you were
extreme.
losing the lead on who Jesus was. Like how do you read it? There's some shows my wife and I were watching. It was interesting because it was looking at like how people are approaching people as Christians or as a religious type people, and you look at that. I'm like, how do you read this Bible and treat? Sorry, table. You looked at me. I was
No,
like,
yeah, you're
uh,
good.
how do you read this Bible and look at how Jesus responded to people and responded to the church itself and say women are less, a person of this certain color is less. Like Jesus was just so passionate about loving people, and it boggles the mind that in this day and age, with as much any person can pull out their phone, download an app, and get access to the Bible and read about Jesus, and you have people acting like someone's lesser than them when we're all on the same level, and it blows my mind.
Yeah.
Welcome to Blythe Baptist Church. We're messed up. If you're perfect, please leave so you don't mess us up. The guys just working on us one day at a time.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly a tale as old as time,
Yes,
right? Even the Roman guard here. He's like, I bought my my way into Roman citizenship, where Paul's like, I was born a Roman citizen. The elitism is always there, so
Yeah.
people are always have been trying to put themselves up, and it's nothing new. It's just people let it get in the way of their faith, get in the way of bringing other people to Jesus.
And it always does and always will.
Yeah.
So I think as we're looking at that with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the Pharisees believed in the Spirit. They believed in the resurrection. They believed in everything except for not being hateful. And that the elitism is what kills the Pharisees. But watch light this match. Go ahead.
So I'll take a step back to make sure we read it. I'll step back to 6. So when Paul realized that one part of them were Sadducees and the other part were Pharisees, he cried out in the Sanhedrin, "Brothers, I am a Pharisee, a son of Pharisees. I am being judged because of the hope of the resurrection of the dead."
Hold the pin.
When he said this, a dispute broke out between the Pharisees and the Sadducees.
Mine says a dissension.
Dissension's a far cooler word in that situation. Yeah. And the assembly was divided. For the Sadducees say there is no resurrections, and neither angel. Yeah, they're sad.
Hmm.
Why are we here? There is no resurrection, and neither angel nor spirit. But the Pharisees affirmed them all. The shouting grew loud, and some of the scribes of the Pharisees' parties got up and argued vehemently. We find nothing evil in this man. What if a spirit or an angel had spoken to him? When the dispute became violent, the commander feared that Paul might be torn apart by them and ordered the troops to go down, take him away from them, and bring him into the barracks.
I don't mind they were going to tear him to pieces, but says we find nothing wrong with this man. Suppose the spirit or angel has spoken to him. Now the Pharisees, the very ones who are trying to kill him, probably even some of the ones from Asia, are going, no, it couldn't happen. That's our guy. You're right, you guys. And probably had lots of other words they shared with him. Because I didn't share that before, the Pharisees publicly would always display that the Sadducees weren't getting to heaven.
Yeah.
They weren't even going to make it into the next life because they didn't believe in it. So you can't go.
Mm.
And they would bash them all the time publicly.
So just a off topic, well, not off topic, but Sadducees and Pharisees. Were there Pharisees before Jesus died?
Yes.
What were they? Because, I mean, I think you said the big difference was the Pharisees believed the resurrection. The
Not the
Sadducees.
resurrection of Jesus, the resurrection of the dead, period.
Okay.
So and I don't know how the Pharisees ignore it when you see Samuel come back from the dead with the witch of Endor. They denied any resurrection. For them, when your life stopped, it was over. You had a one-shot deal. That's why they were liberal and wanted to make the most of what they could on this side and get the power they could, because there's nothing next. What a dismal life. If this is the one-shot deal and all we get.
Also, how in the
Yeah.
world did they get people to follow that? Like it's already a struggle enough to get people to follow Christ, and it's like, oh, there's a lot of freedom, there's a lot of love, and there's peace to it. Like you might be directed one way or the other, but we're like, it's a great place to be. And these guys are offering up, this is all there is. We have a ton of laws and a ton of rules. If you say the wrong thing, we might stone you. We might get you crucified. We'll yell at you and beat you and get you scourged. But here we are. Like, what did they have to offer? Did they make really good
Oh,
cookies?
when people love religion, and you see all the different religions in the world religion, people zealously will follow. The very fact that and you're going to see what's about to come up, they're okay with murder.
Yes.
They were with Jesus. They were with Domin. They're okay with anybody getting off that they believe different from them, which library politics as well, because it's not okay to differ. We want to kill you. That's why they hated the Gentiles being there. Even though God had set up for a court of the Gentiles, so the Gentiles could hear of the truth of the light of who God was, and their job was to witness, to share. Or they had proselytes where you could go from being a Gentile to being Jewish. And they lost their purpose. They lost the light. They lost while we were there. And religion always will feed itself. People love rules. People love regulation, because if I can do it with my power, I have control over what's next. Then they don't have any control. Next, they're going to try to take it down. But people will follow religion over a relationship anyway, because that's their power and they're doing it their way. That's why people don't want to admit Jesus is God, because if he's really God, they have to be accountable to him, and they don't want that accountability. So they will chase any other religion, any other thing they can, to not have God be the one who's God.
And I guess it makes sense for the Sadducees. Like, I think of like that good old boy club or like that country club. While they may not have the best benefits in the whole world, their golf courses ran down, whatever, however you want to paint this out, they're still part of a club. And that club still probably nets them some benefits and some power over people who aren't in the club. So, yep, it makes. So,
All right, back to the match.
The following night, the Lord stood by him and said, "Have courage, for as you have testified about me in Jerusalem, so it is necessary for you to testify in Rome."
This is huge as God coming to him in these pivotal moments in his life, at his salvation. And hey, here's what's coming. At this point where he's about to be torn apart, and hey, remember I told you, and you're going to go to Rome. You just keep trusting me and following me, and that encouragement that he gives him. That's so huge to me to watch Jesus do it within time and time and time again. That's why he can say so specifically and vigorously, I'm going to Jerusalem. This is where God told me to go.
Yeah.
And I'll fight hell with sword guns if I know it's what God told me to do.
Right.
That's why.
Well, everyone says that, but then you look at Jonah.
Jonah was a dirtbag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, how many pots are we starting tonight?
Right.
Let's go.
Right.
Jonah was a dirtbag before. Jonah was a dirtbag during. Even a dirtbag after. He threw a fit at God. I knew you weren't going to kill him. Prophet, love of God, somewhere in there he mixed it up. Same thing. He's following more religion.
Hey, I'm gonna adjust your mic real fast.
Is it like slowly like getting?
I'm trying to get lower and lower and lower.
I thought you were just dodging the lightning.
So just so you guys know, this is Scott Underwood. Bought this mic to sing from because he has a blah, 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 kind of voice. And when God moved him to Alabama, he left it. I thought, how great for our podcast to have the good mic. All right, where are we at?
When it was morning, the Jews formed a conspiracy and
Okay, here goes the religion. This is the religious people about to say, here's how we're going to share.
which I just find interesting, like wake up and plan some murder.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when it was morning, the Jews formed a conspiracy and bound themselves under a curse not to eat or drink until they had killed Paul. There were more than 40 who had formed this plot. These men went to the chief priests.
Before we go on, they made an oath. They made what would you say?
Bound themselves under a curse.
They bound themselves under a curse.
That's
May God strike me dead if I don't follow through.
yeah. They
Yeah.
didn't mean it. Because for them, if they didn't do it and they broke it, all they had to do was go make sacrifice at the temple, and it was taken care of. All right, you're good.
And do we know if these were Pharisees or Sadducees that were doing this?
Yes.
Oh, just everyone. We hate each other,
Yeah.
but we hate him more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Most likely they were zealous because zealous
Yeah. Remember when they had to go take him out of there?
Yeah, so it wouldn't be eat.
Uh-huh.
Even though they agreed,
Yeah.
they agreed with him, but then they had to pull him out so he didn't get tore apart. Like, we love
Yeah.
you now, and we're going to tear you apart for it.
Uh-huh.
Eat you to pieces. Yeah.
All right, go on.
Okay.
Go on, Queens.
These men went to the chief priests and elders and said, "We have bound ourselves under a solemn curse that we won't eat anything until we have killed Paul." Oh, yeah, I'm like, okay, we didn't hear anything about them falling out later on. So now you, along with the Sanhedrin, make a request to the commander that he bring him down to you, as if you were going to investigate his case more thoroughly.
So we're going to lie, kill, all in we got.
And did they, and maybe I'm just thinking too lightly of the Romans, did they think that the Romans were just going to be like, oh, you killed the guy that we were keeping safe because he's a Roman too?
Oh no, this was a constant. Just like they wanted to release one of the prisoners and they chose Barabbas because they were trying to keep the Jews.
So they would have let Paul, if that had happened,
Yeah.
they would have let, oh, dang, again, paperwork. They were just,
here in a little bit would have let him try.
yeah.
We didn't do it. They did it to him.
Because if there's an uproar and it goes back up the chain of Caesar. Because remember, this is a Roman province.
Yes.
We're trying to keep the peace and not be at war constantly.
Right.
And these guys are a powder keg. And so time and time again, leadership's being changed for the Roman side because they're letting stuff happen. People are getting killed. There are wars. Part of the reason that even Pilate was on sketchy ground and wanted to make nice with them is because they were blackmailing him. Hey, we're going to tell Rome, or we're going to throw a fit, or we're going to have another coup or uprising if you don't do it our way. Yeah, that's basically their blackmailing and trying to coerce.
Let's see, a step it back. So now you, along with the Sanhedrin, make a request to go to the commander that he bring him down to you, as if you were going to investigate his case more thoroughly. But before he gets near, we are ready to kill him.
Watch how cool God is. That God knew from before time began everything was going to happen with the right people in the right place. Just like Paul could be sharing with all these people, God's playing chess while the devil's playing checkers.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that they're throwing a fit. So they say they went toddler mode. They said, "I'm not going to eat or drink until you bring this guy here.
I want to kill him. I want to kill him.
If you don't bring him here, I'm gonna hold my breath."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
They could not eat or drink.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a calf.
If you don't do it, we're gonna die because we're not gonna eat or drink. So
like, what was that television
Yeah.
that said, if you don't give me this money, God's gonna kill me. What is the one with?
it's probably dead.
He's the one that tells he had just earlier given out prayer wallets to people. If you'll pledge this amount, this wallet will never go empty. But one day, we just send his wallets back. But he had to pay off his big hospital, all these things he built. He said, God told me if I don't raise this money, then right at the last few minute, history gave the whole thing. I want to give you a Sorry.
just, ooh.
I told you, barely saved. God's working on me.
We just,
I'll be in trouble.
Yeah. Not that you hoped.
I didn't
You're
hope.
just
I thought
curious.
I was like,
just evident for evidencing. Just
yeah.
like those guys walking around with Saul, you know, they were just evidencing.
Yeah.
So look at verse 60. This is the best part.
But the son of Paul's sister,
Coincidence.
I just walking by.
Yeah.
What was that? But the son of Paul's sister, hearing about their ambush, came and entered the barracks and reported it to Paul. Paul called one of.
After they let him go and they took his chance, because he had been chained between two Roman soldiers. Now he's got free reign, and his nephew can come hang out. Hey, you're good, Paul. You come. Everybody can come hang out. We'll throw a party here. Want some food?
Got snacks. Paul called one of the centurions and said, "Take this young man to the commander, because he has something to report to him." So he took him, brought him to the commander and said, "The prisoner Paul called me and asked me to bring this young man to you, because he has something to tell you." The commander took him by the hand, led him aside, and inquired privately, "What is it you have to report to me?" "The Jews," he said, "have agreed to ask you to bring Paul down to the Sanhedrin tomorrow, as though they are going to hold a somewhat more careful inquiry about him. Don't let them persuade you, because there are more than 40 of them lying in ambush, men who have bound themselves under a curse not to eat or drink until they have killed him. Now they are ready, waiting for your consent." So the commander dismissed the young man and instructed him, "Don't tell anyone that you have informed me about this." He summoned 2 of his centurions and said, "Get 200 soldiers ready with 70 cavalry and 200 spearmen to go to Caesarea. I was going to say that, and I chickened out. Caesarea at 9 tonight. Also, provide mounts for Paul to ride and bring him safely to Felix the governor."
Okay. Before even getting into how cool it is that God warned him and the big troop he sent him with him, Paul called one of the centurions too and said, "Lead this young man." How cool is it that he gets drug in there in chains? Now he's saying, "Hey, now centurion."
Oh, he's pulling rank now.
He's Roman.
Yeah.
Born Roman.
Uh-huh. Natural citizen.
And it's funny because centurion wasn't just a grunt. He's over between 80 and 100 soldiers.
Yeah.
100.
Well, he's a legionnaire, right? He's part of the legion. He's high official.
Well trained, well armored, well weaponed.
The Roman soldier in charge, who's over the whole Roman cohort, is over usually about 1,000 soldiers, but only holds up to 600 here. So he's got 600. He's a big deal, and Paul's telling him what to do. Centurion's big deal. Paul's telling him what to do, like Roman. But they follow, they listen, they do it all, and then not only that, why do you think they had 200 soldiers ready within the hour? I was saying over the night, with 70 horsemen, 200 spearmen, and Paul even got a free rider. He didn't have to walk.
They could have bound him and made him walk behind.
They couldn't have.
Oh, Roman? Yep, good call.
That's why they're letting, "Hey, you have my horse. That's okay." But why do they need that many soldiers?
Because it was serious. They were gonna. They took the threat for what it
It's a
was.
valid threat,
Yeah, they're gonna kill this Roman citizen on our watch.
and we're gonna be in trouble for it.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure they've seen it happen plenty before. I think that's the
Yeah.
other part of it, because, some kid that Paul said, trust him, go talk to this guy. He was like, oh, this bad thing's going to happen. They have to have had seen this over and over
I
again.
mean, 10,000 people got trampled 2 days ago.
Yeah.
To death.
Yeah.
That was an earlier one.
Okay.
The same spot, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
over
Man,
something,
seen-
well, I'd say less trivial. That dude was just like
Yeah.
dancing in the,
the Roman soldier defiled the temple.
yes.
And that was what set off the crowd. Paul is accused of the same thing, defiling the temple, bringing a Gentile, and he didn't do it. But they accused him of it, and they go wild over it. All right, keep going.
He wrote the following letter. Claudius Lysias, to the most excellent governor Felix, greetings. When this man has been seized by the Jews and was about to be killed by them, I arrived with my troops and rescued him because I learned that he is a Roman citizen. Wanting to know the charge they were accusing him of, I brought him down before the Sanhedrin. I found out that the accusations were concerning questions of their law and that there was no charge that merited death or imprisonment. When I was informed that there was a plot against this man, I sent him to you right away. I also ordered his accusers to state their case against him in your presence. So the soldiers took Paul during the night and brought him to Antipatris, as they were ordered. The next,
Antipatris is a Roman fort.
Okay.
Partway between where they have. So he not only gets a chance to talk to everybody in Jerusalem and eventually Caesarea, he even gets to stop at the fort in between.
and we know he was talking.
That's why he got in trouble everywhere he went. They had to switch out the Roman guards in Rome who were attached to him because he kept leading them to Christ.
Yo, you heard about Jesus?
Well, you had an 18-inch chain on each arm, and he's strapped to 2 Roman elite soldiers, the best of the best. And all of a sudden, he's like, I got to catch the noise. I'm going to make the most of this. I guarantee you, Antipatris, when he was in there, he was doing the very same thing.
That's no different than you getting your needles put in your arm, set up. You're like, hey, we're here.
I don't do needles.
in
my arm. He
Doctor's
means
office,
surgery.
doctor's offices, yeah. Yeah, that clarification is a beautiful thing. But no, I think it's I don't know. It just kind of excited me because you've been saying that a lot, and you do say that a lot about, and one of the things that you were working towards with the ping pong thing, about sharing Jesus every opportunity you get, like finding that space to not necessarily just like run down and like, hey, I mean, maybe that's what's needed where you're at. But I think it's interesting to see that precedent set in dire straits. He, like, no matter what, he knows what's coming.
It's about leveraging your life. It goes back to the Great Commission.
Yes.
Jesus said, go make disciples. I prefer, and some people disagree, that the Greek translation of go is as you go.
Yeah.
And as he's going, as he's going to jail, might as well make the most of it. If I'm going to the store, make the most of it. If I'm going to the doctor, that's my mission field is the doctors, surgeons. And if I'm there, I might as well make the most of it. That's where you see Paul all through everywhere he goes. Even as he's being beat half to death, he says, have a minute to talk. Let's share something with everybody real quick. I know they hate me. I know they're throwing stuff at me. I just want to share this one little important thing. Jeez.
It's that is interesting. For me, that's just such a big deal because we definitely have it way easier 99.99999% of the time. And I just imagine him just crumpled up on the ground, be like, hold on 1 sec, spitting the blood out of
Yeah.
his mouth.
I mean, he just took a 40-mile walk.
Yeah. Oh,
From
he's
there
tired.
to Antipatris is what they say about 40 miles.
40
On their horse.
Yeah, well, all those soldiers weren't.
Yeah.
and 40 miles, saddle sore. He's still
Yeah,
chained.
I don't like driving from here to.
Well, I thought you said 18.
That's what they do when he's in Rome.
Ah,
That's what he was.
got-
before.
okay.
He said, I'm Roman. Then doing.
Yeah,
okay, cool. Get my timeline straightened out.
So with
same.
I think the thing with Paul is he saw where we've messed up somewhere in Christianity. Evangelism isn't something you do, it's something you are. And it's my way of life. I don't have to go tell somebody about Jesus as a trick, because I'm going to do it. It's part of my DNA. It's who I am.
When I thought about that a lot, and about like God sending you out to do more things, like again, it ties into you're not going to be overburdened. God knows what you can handle. Like if you're not even handling the mission field that is your
God
life,
knows what he can handle.
yes, yeah. Well, he set you up for all that.
if you're not excelling in your mission field, that is the bubble around you.
Switch words to faithful.
What do you mean?
You're not faithful in the field he's giving you.
Yes. If you're not faithful, that does make more sense.
Because we're all called to it. It's not optional.
Yes.
He said, you will be, in Acts 1:8, my witness in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria. And Billy, my wife, said it so great. She said, do you realize what that says? Is you're going to be his witness. The question is it true or bad?
That is the truth. So, and that's the thing. And you make such a good example. And I'm not saying that you're perfect. You're not. You're just a dude. You're just a dude. But yeah, and that's something that I see myself failing at being faithful to do. Am I getting, because I love talking to people. I may be pretty introverted, but I no matter what, I see people and I find it so highly interesting that we're all living these lives. Like driving down the road, I see people and I'm just so fascinated by the lives that these people are leading. Yeah, I'm not able to like yell out my car window to those people, but there are other people that I have opportunities. So why am I worried? Again, I love it, but why am I worried about that person driving past me when there are people in my life that I'm not making that conversation, and I'm not making that link? And it's something that I do need to do better with.
And I think God calls us to both.
Yes.
I encourage people that part of being a Christian is living it out and living it on the outside. We're going to do the whole push through May on teaching people. Every Wednesday night we're going to be teaching somebody. I'm not teaching somebody else how to share your faith, a different way to do it, because it's all just different techniques, ideas, things. If you can find what works for you, it's not about a formula or a pattern. It's about how can I learn to tell my story in the most effective way that people will understand it, who it will swallow it. Like Paul said, season your words as with salt, not hindered, Paul, but it's palatable. For those who listen to that, they can swallow it, because I can tell the truth and make it hateful and they're never going to listen to it.
Yep.
But if I can learn to be a witness, Jesus, why did he have a whole house full of tax collectors and sinners and Uchi's and whoever that the Pharisees would have a fit over? Why would they flock to him?
But because he was berating them or making them feel bad about themselves.
And he never minced words. He said, hey, go sin no more.
Yeah.
It's not the best for you. You're killing yourself. Love you too much for that. I got something better. And they were hungry for that because he loved them just the way they were. He shared with them just the way they were. Even the woman who was taken in an act of adultery, which that didn't show up with the bigger issue. It was Pharisees who sinned up. But we doodled in the dirt. People always try and guess, preachers will preach on it. What was he writing? Did he? Some say, well, he wrote the name of their mistress or prostitute, or he was writing their individual sins. I think so. This woman was caught in the act, most likely naked, drugged to them, probably abused along the way. And she's standing there in her shame and her brokenness. And instead of looking at her, he doodles in the dirt, giving her that respect. This is my opinion. Giving her that respect that I don't want to embarrass you any further. You're already shamed enough. And he addresses the crowd, not her. Yeah. He says, let without sin be first at that. Oh. And then when they all drop rocks and bail, he's standing here as just him and her. Then he catches eye contact. And he says, where are your accusers? He says, there's none but you, which is the most honest, truthful answer there ever is. Because he's the only one who could accuse.
Yes.
He's the one without sin. But neither do I. They said, go and sin no more. That's what we witnessing. Witnesses is be Jesus with people, for people. People need hope. People need help. I share my faith because if somebody hadn't done it for me, I'd be busting hell wide open. Yeah. And that's what I think the passion for Paul is. He had been saved from so much. God had forgiven him so much. He's like, how could I not spend my life bringing people to this Messiah who affects me and changes me, he gives me hope, gives me courage, and gives me another chance. That's why I share my story. I love, you can argue with me all you want, whether the Bible's true, you can't argue my story. Because I know what God took me out of. He saved me from what he's done in my life, but things I've seen do. That's what's effective. That's what changes lives, is when your story intersects with their story. People are so hungry for hope. I've had some of the people I've shared my faith with were in really bad situations. One one suffering from a gunshot wound, and asked him, dude, know where you're going to go if this doesn't work out right. Hope you're going to hell. But where you want to go? I couldn't have had anybody say, oh, I'm going to go to hell. And I said, well, you know how to get there? He says, no. I said, I mean, Dix, I said, let me share it with you. I give him the gospel. He's like, I want to give God my life right now. If he can really forgive me, if he can really love me, you want that.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is evangelism. That's what's sharing our faith. That's what's telling the truth of what God's done for us. It's not that we're perfect or we're better. It's one fellow traveler on the road found the right path, and we can say, hey, it's this way. Or we somebody who knows the bridge is out. They say, hey, that's not the way you want to go. It's really this is what the way.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you made me think of something with talking about Jesus hanging out in these rooms with all these people that definitely weren't sitting around talking about Jesus-y things. And I also think about Paul going in and doing the 7 days of purification so he can blend in. Like, I love that symmetry of Jesus hung out with these people so he could know those people, so he could speak to them. So when he went and talked to the tax collectors, he knew what they were about. When he went and talked to the prostitutes, he went and knew the discussions and the places that they were. And so he was able to, again, that symmetry, I love it. He was able to get into those spaces and remove that shame, because each individual person, you think about any person I talk to that, like, I do my best to say I'm not judging you for the things you're doing, but you still have to walk past those places of talking about it. Well, if you already know it, you can skip that shame step, and then you start getting right to the heart of the problem. And that's really interesting to see that a direct reflection on Paul as he's integrating with the people in the Sanhedrin, the people in these forts, walking down the road. Like, he knows these people already, and he's able to just get right into their lives and have the right words to speak to them.
My first ministry I ever started was Communion Ministries. Based off the verse, I become all things to all men that I might win some. The Jews I became huge. One under the law, I became like one of the laws. Without the law, I became like without the law. I'll become anything I have to. It doesn't mean I compromise in God's favor, who I am. I'm going to find common ground in a way that I can relate to you, earn the right to be heard. Yes. And that's why I work with Fleece and Fire, because they are so untrusting of Christians and preacher, because they've seen the worst of them. And I love being able to break that mold, and you say, hey, I'm as jacked up as you are, but God loves me. He can love you too. Yeah. And when you get invited into an inner circle, I was thinking, when he said, hey, so Terry, dude, come here. He had built a relationship. I guarantee you, 10 minutes. He's like, dude, come here. And he saw his heart. He saw that Paul was legit. Saw that he wasn't putting on false airs like all the Pharisees and Sadducees that were whitewashed tombs that are so obvious in their hypocrisy, which some of your preachers get in that same place, or Christians as well, that we forget we're sinners saved by grace. We're not perfect. We're fellow travelers that God is working on. I still think Chumbawamba is one of the greatest theologians of the whole time. I get knocked down, but I get up again. Ain't ever gonna keep him down. That's Christianity. That moving out the lyrics. The theology of it is when we get knocked down, or when we put ourselves in a place where we fall down, even if it's growing. God says, I don't want you to wallow in your sin and in the dump and in the mire. I want you to get a dust off and keep going, because I love you. I got something better for you.
Put it behind you. Put it behind you.
Repentance was more what you're turning to than what you're turning from. Yeah. And as I keep my focus on him and keep my focus on things above, I love about Colossians chapter 3, where I set my mind changes where I'm going. My focus determines my path. The head determines where you're going to go in football or in martial arts. And turn your head, I'm taking your body. Yep. If I can keep my focus on him, it affects everything about me and changes. But that's also, I can have the validity to share with somebody out of honesty. People know Christian sin. You're not surprising anybody. They just don't think you know. They think you're perfect.
Well, it's the worst way to be that Christian that thinks they're perfect, and then trying to have a conversation with somebody, and they're like,
I love it when I always said I work with rough people. I love we have a church full of pirates, and when somebody will drop a bomb or cuss in front of me or something, this here, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, dude, you're safe. I'm not going up. You already knows. I said, then that's on you, because I didn't reach it out.
You told him, that wasn't me.
Because when you're a preacher, they're afraid to say something in front of you or do something for fear you're going to judge them. I don't think we should ever make people afraid we're going to judge them, but know that, hey, now, unless they do, let me help you up. Yes, things that are better for you. If you're killing yourself, that's destroying your family, it's destroying your life, not out of condemnation that I'm any better, but if I tasted it. We were talking about earlier, the bacon wrap.
Mhm.
And I realized that's a deep
Rent free. Rent free.
I'm going to war somebody with what I've learned. That's just Christianity. And I think part of our job, what Paul's doing, is living it. No matter where he goes, who he's talking to, that's why you see every one of these different groups are different. He's invading so many different languages, social groups, and he's crossing over them and loving them just the way they are. Yeah, it didn't matter. You didn't have to. I even love he called Peter out when Peter was Peter. He's like, dude, quit being a jerk. You're making all these Gentiles who are Christians now feel like dirt, because when you were with them, it was their data. Now, that's for me. I'm busy. Now that it's the brothers came from Jerusalem, you're not willing to eat with them anymore because it's going to make you look a certain way. Man up. And I think that's not judging him. It's a brother iron sharpening iron, that we help each other walk. But back to our text. It's about to get good because we're about to switch from Felix to Festus to Agrippa.
So we'll start back at 31. So the soldiers took Paul during the night and brought him to Antipatris, as they were ordered. The next day they returned to the barracks, allowing the cavalry to go on with him.
So they got to go home. They didn't have to worry on their way home because Paul's not with them anymore.
When these men entered Caesarea, we'll get it, Caesarea, and delivered.
Correct you with language, and I can butcher everything.
Oh no, I love it though. I'm still sharpening, man. One way or the other, we'll get there. And delivered the letter to the governor. They also presented Paul to him. After he read it, he asked what province he was from. When he learned he was from Cilicia, he said, "I will give you a hearing whenever your accusers also get here." He ordered that he be kept under guard in Herod's palace.
Or Praetorium. And I love the Praetorium, the palace. He ordered that he stays at Felix's house. He's not in jail. Now, if you remember Praetorium of Pilate, those palaces where Jesus put the crown of thorns, they beat him, they scourged him, that's all in his place too. But they have different sections of the house. But he's keeping him there. And one of the things you said, where was it? We had come to Caesarea. We delivered the letter to the governor from Licinius. They also presented Paul to him. It was an honor. Hey, we're bringing Paul to you. I don't know if he's made that quick of an impact in their life or either spear and death of them being Roman, but there is a different view now as he's coming in. Felix, who's the governor, just a little background on Felix, is Tiberius Antonius Felix, his full name. The fourth governor of Judea, Rome, ever. Put in place because his brother, what was his brother? Pallas, was a powerful freedman who was a free Roman citizen, eventually freed, who was hand in hand with Cornelius, the emperor. Said, hey, you take care of my little brother. All right, I'll do you a solid. It makes him governor of Judea, which isn't a very big solid. So he's probably the little brother that got on their nerves and he sent him to him. But he's a dirtbag. This guy they just brought him to is not moral. He's not ethical. Atricus is a historian that during that time period, who he said Felix was corrupt. He had the king's authority, but a slave's mind. Yeah. Josephus, the other Jewish historian, he said that he was condemned as being corrupt. and accused him of all the bloody massacres that happened in Jerusalem, in Judea, was because of him and him being sober. So that's where he's hanging out for night. Now we're in chapter 24.
We're getting there. 5 days later, Ananias, the high priest, came down with some elders and a lawyer named Tertullus.
I love that they bring their lawyer, Tertullus, to
Tertullus.
please his case. But how huge is it that Ananias takes a 40-mile trip to bring charges against him, because who won't come back?
Yeah.
And they hate Paul so much that they all make this trip and bring their lawyer, because they're the ones who gets to do first talk, first accusation. They get to bring their case before Paul can share his. But they bring all the big guns they've got, and I love Paul is going to smack them.
These men presented their case against Paul to the governor. When Paul was called in, Tertullus began to accuse him and said, "We enjoy great peace because of you, and reforms are taking place for the benefit of the nation because of your foresight. We acknowledge this in every way and everywhere, most excellent Felix, with utmost gratitude. But, so that I will not burden you any farther, I request that you would be kind enough to give us a brief hearing. For we have found this man to be a plague, an agitator among...
This is a real pest.
an agitator among all the Jews throughout the Roman world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes."
And mine throws dissension here too. He's causing dissension through all of Judaism. And going back to the way, another one, they were a sect of Judaism of the Nazarenes, because Jesus was from that.
Yeah.
So they're saying, oh, those are all just those Nazarenes. Not having to do with the denomination Nazarenes, but they don't know a whole lot about. Jesus wasn't.
He even tried to desecrate the temple, and so we apprehended him. By examining him yourself, you'll be able to discern the truth about these charges we are bringing against him. The Jews also joined in the attack, alleging that these things were true.
Ooh, the Jews joined in the attack. Does that mean Tertullus wasn't Jewish? He was their lawyer. It is Tertullus, not Turtles, because I keep thinking of a ninja.
Tertullus.
But they said he joined with the Jews. That just makes me, and I haven't researched it. I didn't look this part up. You can look it up if you want. I just wonder if he was not Jewish, if he was a Gentile or a Greek. So they joined in. Go ahead.
Because, yeah, he's talking and pointing back. The Jews also joined it, yeah. It would be weird to not include yourself as a royal, like we. And
Luke, who wrote Acts, is a stickler for detail.
Yeah.
He doesn't add stuff for no reason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's outside of quotes. So that's just him describing what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, good call on that, the quotes, yeah.
Yeah.
So in that line, maybe that is it more of a description of
The
what's happening at that point in
Sanhedrin,
time?
Yeah. I think that's the Jews probably refers to the council.
Well,
Those
I'm
over there.
thinking it means the elders that showed up.
Yeah.
So
the
yeah, they're all
council.
just yelling alongside the lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he that's exactly what happened.
Uh-huh.
You killed my gun.
When the governor motioned for him to speak, Paul replied, "Because I know you have been a judge of this nation for many years, I am glad to offer my defense in what concerns me. You can verify for yourself that it is no more than 12 days since I went up to worship in Jerusalem. They didn't find me arguing with anyone or causing a disturbance among the crowd, either in the temple or in the synagogues or anywhere in the city. Neither can they prove the charges they are now making against me. But I admit this to you. I worship the God of my ancestors according to the way, which they call a sect, believing everything that is in accordance with the law and written in the prophets."
So he says we're not an offshoot. We're fulfilling.
Yes.
We're believing all of it. We're not picking and choosing.
"I have a hope in God, which these men themselves also accept, that there will be a resurrection, both of the righteous and the unrighteous.
So in the theology there is so huge because everyone lives forever. It's either in heaven or hell.
Yes.
There's only two places. Eternity's for everybody.
Yes.
And he says, I believe in the resurrection of the righteous and the wicked. And the grave of that Sheol, the place of the dead, was divided into two parts. The place of the righteous dead, paradise. Jesus said, today you'll be in paradise. Jesus gave the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, where Lazarus was in hell, and he looked up and saw the rich man, or reverse that. Rich man was in hell, saw Lazarus, and said, "Hey, Abraham, please dip his finger in the water and quench my tongue from this burning." And that's like it's not Gehenna, the official end hell. It's like hell light. It's not light at all. It's horrible. But that was the place of the wicked dead. That's when they believe Jesus, when he went into the tomb, went down and preached to those who were in prison, not to get a chance to get out. There wasn't a purgatory deal. You got one shot at this life. You don't get another chance later. And he was proclaiming, "Hey, game, set, match. This is what we're doing." Also, when it says that he who ascended surely descended to the deepest parts, and he led captives with him in his train, that he cleaned out paradise, not the place of the wicked. That's why you get in Revelation that he's going to pull everyone out at that point from the wicked dead. Everyone's going to be judged, and then hell itself, or he'll also be thrown into Gehenna, into the lake of fire. All of us are judged by who you know. It's not a second chance. So when Paul is sharing just right there, what verse was it is that?
I am at 15, so I have a hope in God, which these men themselves also accept, that there will be a resurrection, both the righteous and the unrighteous.
He's sharing his story. I have hope. I know where I'm going. I'm sharing with you and sharing with them the hope of, that's going back to his witnesses. He's offering hope. That's what the good news is. That's why they call the gospel the good news. It gives people hope. That's what he's supposed to. Go ahead.
I always strive to have a clear conscience toward God and men. After many years, I came to bring charitable gifts and offerings to my people. While I was doing this, some Jews from Asia found me ritually purified in the temple, without a crowd and without any uproar. It is they who ought to be here before you to bring charges. If they have... Let me step back.
They were the ones rioting in the temple.
Yeah, they caused it. They've been
Yeah.
following him. They tracked him.
Yeah.
The ones who should be on trial didn't show up.
It is they who ought to be here before you to bring charges, if they have anything against me. Or let these men here state what wrongdoing they found in me when I stood before the Sanhedrin. Other than this one statement I shouted while standing among them, "Today I am on trial before you concerning the resurrection of the dead." And is that one statement him calling out the whitewashed? Yeah. So that was, he's like, "That was my bad. I didn't know he was the leader."
No. He's talking about when he said, when he pulled the pin and got the Pharisees and the Sadducees start fighting over him.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about. That's why they brought me here, because on a Pharisee, and it's about resurrection, all these dirty Sadducees.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if the one statement was, that whole thing, or the him being like, "Oh, my bad, I didn't know you were a leader."
Yeah, no, he slapped him.
Okay. Fair. Hey.
And when you look at it, what are you on 22? I would have said, but Felix having more exact knowledge about the way put them off.
Yeah.
Saying when Lysias commander comes down on the other side, he's putting it off because, one, he doesn't want to make them mad. Doesn't want to step on those toes. He should have thrown the case out. They couldn't refute anything Paul just said.
Yeah.
And he had the power of Paul being a Roman citizen to stop it all.
Yeah.
Like this break. The power of the law was hand in hand with what they thought, what they were doing. But he also, being crooked, he could have handed them over to him just to appease them.
Yeah.
So by him being a Roman citizen, it stopped him from being crooked Felix.
Yes.
And turning him over to him and made him do his job. So the fact that God chose Paul, just happened to make him be born in Tarsus to a Gentile Greek father. God lays everything out so he can get to Rome.
Yeah. So at 22, since Felix was well informed about the way, he adjourned the hearing, saying, "When Lysias the commander comes down, I will decide your case." He ordered that the centurion keep Paul under guard, though he could have some freedom, and that he should not prevent any of his friends from meeting his needs. Several days later, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, who was Jewish, he sent for Paul and listened to him on the subject of faith in Christ Jesus.
Drusilla's awesome. Now, Drusilla, Herod Agrippa II, and Bernice, all brothers and sisters.
Oh, okay. Real tight-knit group.
Yeah,
The youngest daughter of Agrippa the first.
yeah. Which is the one from Acts 12.
Okay.
And which, like I said, to Bernice and Agrippa II, is Felix's third wife.
Good man.
His first wife had been the granddaughter of Anthony and Cleopatra.
Oh,
Just cool trivia. I think it's pretty awesome.
it's so interesting to see how like history tie into, because it's so easy to look at the life of these people outside of the things that were going on in the rest of the world. Because while Jesus was alive and while Paul was moving through these areas, there were other huge things happening in the world, and so it's cool to see those tie-ins.
And she was in her teens that they had given her off to the wife of one guy. He convinced her to bail on him and come be his wife. At 16, became his wife, bore him a son, and he got killed in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 70 miles. Just trivia.
Just trivia, just a drop like that.
But the other thing, her being a Jewish, they believe that she was the one who made him so familiar with the way.
Yeah.
Because they believe she may have been a follower and urging him to talk to Paul so he could hear the truth of the gospel from him. So he learned his knowledge of Christianity from.
And I feel like that makes sense, knowing what we know of Felix being kind of the corrupt man he was, and it really seeming like he was only interested in what was going to make him look good. Like having a woman like that who's going to be like, okay, we need to talk about some serious things. And
And I love what he's about to preach to him.
Yeah.
Because Paul's not afraid to get in your business. And knowing that he's a dirtbag, look what it says in from 25.
now, as he spoke about righteousness, self-control, and the judgment to come,
Everything he's missing
Mm-hmm.
and the judgment to come,
Yeah.
bust hell wide open.
Felix became afraid and replied, "Leave for now, but when I have an opportunity, I'll call for you."
I said, go away. Always in the present time, and I'm going to love you when I want to. And he did often.
Yeah.
And now partially because he's hoping for a bribe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Also,
Well, that's the exact next line. At the same time, too, he was hoping that money would be given him
Yeah,
by Paul.
That's the next line.
so he keeps
Yeah.
calling him in. I don't care what his motives are. He's hearing the truth after the truth after the truth.
I don't know where he thought Paul was about to get money from, locked in his his
Well,
building with him.
Paul said he was bringing alms to the.
Yeah.
He had taken up the offering from all
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
churches
Yeah.
and brought it to, because the Jewish believers that are followers of the way, the Christians, were starving during the famine of Jerusalem. So he brought them from the Gentile churches. All of them needed to survive. So he's like, oh, wait, this guy's got bank. Oh, come on.
Mhm.
Tell me about the trip you made.
So after 2 years had passed, Porcius Festus succeeded Felix.
Porcius.
Old Porcius.
Your Porcius, but
Yeah, I got it. I got that name right. I can't get any of the other ones. And because Felix wanted to do the Jews a favor, he left Paul in prison.